Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Wake and Stretch on this Friday. All right, so today's Wake and Stretch will be focused around the psoas. So not necessarily a flow per se, but a way to help release the psoas. So if you're not sure what the psoas is, it's a very deep muscle that connects the pelvic bones to the lumbar and the sacrum. There it is. So we'll be doing a lot of hip work. One thing is to have a tennis ball. We're going to do a little myofascial work with the psoas as well. And if you have a yoga block or something that's firm like that, so maybe you have a thick book you want to grab, it's just to give you a little bit of height so that when we use the tennis ball on the psoas, you're not flat on the ground. It makes it a little bit easier if it's up a bit. I'm also going to be playing a little bit of music today, a little ambient music. I will share the Spotify list. It's a calm list, so just a little bit of calmness as we work on the psoas. So go ahead and get yourself set up. I'm going to talk just a little bit more before we start the physical aspect of it. So the psoas is famously in the yoga world known as the muscle that moves us forward, that holds on to tons of emotion. Fear is held in there, resistance, a whole bunch of stuff that we know and love as humans. So as we work through the psoas, things may come up, and if they do, it's okay. Just let them come up, let that energy move through you and exit so that you have space for new energy to come through. Most recently, what I've learned is that the psoas also affects your digestion. I probably knew this at one point, but we tend to forget. There's so much information to know about how our bodies react to life in general, mind-body connection. But the psoas does affect your digestion as well. So if you're having some issues there, this may help move things along, if I might put it in a nice, subtle way. Because the psoas does live underneath the large intestine. So we will have to move around that, if you will. All right, so with that said, I'm going to move over to the mat now. And I'll start with a nice warm-up. And I'm going to get a little yin on you as far as the poses go after we do the myofascial release. So, all right, I'm going to stop talking now and get on the mat. So let's start in a comfortable seated position. Sitting up nice and tall. We'll start with some nice pranayama. Get centered to get focused, to calm ourselves down. At least on this end. You might be calm already. Let the eyes gently close. And just breathe. Nice gentle breath in and out through the nose. And as we sit and breathe, allow your focus, your attention to come down towards the lower belly and the hips. You can even put your hands there if you'd like. then gently move the hands to the lower back, to the sacral area where the pelvis is flat. And just place your palms on it in any way that makes sense to you. And breathe into your sacrum. The psoas does connect and can give sensation in that area. And gently bring your hands back to your thighs or stacked in your lap. Let your eyes gently blink open. And we'll get right into the myofascial release. So go ahead and grab your tennis ball. And this is where your block or your book come in handy. So the tennis ball is going to come to the inner edge of your hip bone. And that's where you're going to let the ball roll a little bit. So you'll place the ball on the block, and then place your hip on top of that. And very gently allow your weight to move onto the ball. Now this might be intense, it might not. You really want it to go along the edge of the pelvic bone. You don't want it to poke directly into the stomach, because the pelvic bone has a little bit of a scoop to it, like a bowl. And you want the ball to roll along that inner edge of the bowl. Go gently. When it feels better for you to go a little deeper, feel free to go a little bit deeper. If you find a sweet spot, stay on it and just breathe till the muscle relaxes. But it does take a little while to get in there. For that muscle to release. And the closer you get to the hip flexor, the more you get to the belly of the muscle. And it may be more tender there, and it's okay. Just tread gently. Keep your breath flowing through. This is especially good if you're somebody who sits a lot, or you drive a lot. If your hip is in constant flexion, meaning the thigh is up towards the chest, or you're in a 90-degree angle with the torso to the thigh. Just take a few more breaths with the tennis ball on this side. Take a nice full inhale. As you exhale, press yourself up and back. And we'll switch to the other side. Lining up the tennis ball with the point of the pelvic bone. Letting that tennis ball roll on the inner edge. Ooh. Take your time, move slowly. If it feels intense, make sure that you're exhaling. Sometimes if you hit a certain spot in the psoas, you'll feel it down the thigh to the knee. It's just some energy radiating. As long as it's not pain. Discomfort is one thing. Discomfort is okay. We can live with discomfort for a little bit. You don't want any sharp pains. If you feel any numbness going through the legs, that's a sign too that you're too deep or not in the right spot. Just a few more breaths on this side. Take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, gently shift your back and move into your child's pose. Knees wide, let yourself melt forward. One more breath here in your child's pose. Gently come up onto hands and knees. And as I said, I'm going to bring in some yin this morning. And what that means is we're going to step forward into a low lunge. But in yin it's called a dragon. And shifting the weight forward, be mindful that the foot is flat. In this particular way of practicing, it doesn't matter if the knee goes over the toes or not, right? So alignment is less important. But you can use props, pillows, blankets underneath the hip, because we're going to stay in this pose for quite a while. Actually, let me get my timer, make sure that we're not there for too long. So setting yourself up so you're comfortable in your lunge. And adjust the back knee as you need. I'm sitting up nice and tall. So you can use props underneath the hands if you need more than a block underneath the hip, and bring it. If your knee needs cushion, if you want a cushion underneath that back ankle, whatever it is that you might need. We're trying to lengthen the front of the hip. So we'll stay here for, how does 3 minutes sound? We'll do 3-minute hold. Once you get into the pose, try to stay there without moving too much. Gravity will take over. Do your best here to just focus in on the breath. Nice light touch with the hands. here. Bring your left hand out to the side and gently bring your weight onto it. You don't want to fall. You can have fingertips, you can have fists, you can bring a prop underneath, whatever you might need. And we're going to sweep that right arm up and over. So you'll feel a nice stretch throughout the right side of the body, or well, I don't know which leg you have in front. So the leg that's behind, that's the side that you'll feel the nice stretch through. We're not looking to open the chest necessarily, but keeping yourself square and creating a nice curvature from the back toe to the top fingers. A little bit of an arch, and not so much a twist, more of an arch. We'll stay for about 6 or 7 breaths. One more nice big breath. And as you exhale, gently bring yourself slowly, 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 slowly. Good morning. Side. Bring your hands underneath the shoulders. Start to shift the hips back. Move your block or your prop out of the way. Gently bring the front leg back, and we'll take a brief rebound on the belly. So laying flat, let your head rotate to one side or the other. Arms down by your sides. Let the shoulders slump and just relax. 10 breaths. Few more breaths. Take one more nice full breath. Bring your hands up underneath your shoulders. Gently press up onto hands and knees. Before we do the other side, just take a few cows and cats. Nice, slow, gentle, intentional movement. Good. Coming back to a nice neutral spine. I'm bringing the opposite foot in front this time. Coming into dragon pose. Making sure that the front foot is flat, the knee can go as far as it wants to go. Propping where you need to prop. Make sure your back knee is happy. Back ankle is happy. When you're ready, either bring your hands to props on either side or hands onto the thigh. And we'll stay for 3 minutes. Make sure you're not at your fullest intensity here. As you know from the first side, the longer we stay, the more intense it gets because the fascia, the connective tissue, starts to separate and open. And that's what we are looking for. So being in stillness, staying focused on your breath in that area, help to move the process along in a positive way. Even if ugly stuff comes up, it's all good. Ugly stuff, let it come up too. We're not trying to suppress anything. Let things come out. Try Try to release any unnecessary tension you might have. If you're gripping in the legs, try to relax that out. You're already halfway there. One more minute in the pose. Do you feel it releasing? Keep breathing. Almost there. Take one more nice deep breath. And then as you exhale, gently lower the hands down. We're going to take that side stretch again. So the right hand is going to come down. You can gently shift your weight over to the right. Fingertips, blocks, props, whatever you might need. And then sweep that left arm or the opposite arm up overhead. Keeping the chest square to the front. So be mindful that you're not twisting. 10 breaths. One more full breath. On your exhale, slowly, slowly, slowly bring your hands down to the mat. My guess is that feels pretty intense at this point. Start to shift the hip back. So your weight's on that back knee. Move the block out of the way or your props out of the way. Oh, gently bring your front leg back and lay on the belly. For our rebound pose, we'll stay here for about a minute. Let your head rotate to the opposite side. Ten breaths. Take one more nice deep breath. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Gently bring yourself up onto hands and knees. And slowly, slowly take a nice few rounds of cow and cat. One more round. Good. On your inhale, come to a nice neutral spine. Go ahead and flip over onto your back. And slowly and mindfully, go ahead and roll down through the spine. Just let everything kind of relax here. You can take a nice deep breath in through the nose and exhale it out through the mouth. And then take your hands and place them where your psoas are, right above them. So you have your hip bones. Hands go the pinky edge on the hip bones. Just let your palms of your hands and your fingers rest on the belly from there. Your psoas lives underneath that area. So from here, we're going to take the right leg in towards the chest. And let the left leg extend long underneath you for wind relieving pose. This does affect the psoas. Now let's take that top leg. You can hold underneath if your knee is bothersome. And bring the thigh a little closer to the center of your chest. Now you may feel a little pinching in that hip flexor. That is indeed your psoas. So we're giving it a stretch in a different way. We don't want anything too terribly intense. So we'll stay for a couple breaths. Two more breaths. Good. From here, we're going to take the leg now in the opposite direction. So bring it through neutral to start. Keep both hips parallel to the ground and then open the thigh bone out to the side. You can hook underneath if you'd like, and you can rest the elbow down on the ground if the hips allow you to. You can even use your hand as a kickstand under the knee joint or under the calf. We're not looking for the extension of the leg per se, but a nice stretch through the inner thigh, and you may still feel a little pinching in the hip. It's a pinch-like sensation sometimes, but it is a form of stretching, so I've been told. Good. On your next breath, bring the leg back to neutral, parallel position, and then hug the other leg up and in. Just stay still here for a moment and feel whatever's going on. You may even feel this on the opposite leg, the leg that was straight. Alright, so moving on to the other side now. Hold on to the left leg. Let the right leg slowly slide long underneath you. Ha-ha. Woo-ha. Feel that release. And you can hold on to your left leg either by the shin bone or underneath the knee, whatever feels good for you. Stay for a few more breaths. Now we'll take that thigh bone and just gently move it closer to your center line, so the sternum, the belly button, and then gently pull it in towards you. Again, this is not a huge movement, it's very subtle, and you may have to play with it a little bit to find it. And then breathe into that sensation. From here, we're going to take the leg back through neutral, so bring it back to its parallel position. And then open up the thigh to the side. Keep the hips parallel. To get more of an inner thigh stretch. You can hold on to that leg any way that you choose. Using the elbow on the ground as a kickstand if you'd like. Let that inner thigh and psoas open up. Gently bring that leg back into a parallel position. Help the other leg up. Hug them in towards your chest. Oh, and just feel the feels. Yeehaw. Alright, last thing we'll do before we move into Shavasana is a little bit of pontoon. So grab your props, bring your feet flat onto the mat. And go ahead and lift the hips up. You're going to take your props and slide it underneath the pelvis. So you can go low level if you'd like. If you want more intensity, you could go up to the medium level. And then from there, you can do one leg at a time. You could actually stay with the feet flat because you may feel sensation already the moment you get there. And if you do, it's okay. Just stay there and breathe. Okay, okay. If you want more intensity, if you're looking for more, you can let one leg extend at a time. And this does open up the psoas because it stretches. It gives you a slight back bend in the lower part of the spine. If it's okay for your lower back, you could take both legs at the same time. If you get there and it doesn't feel quite right, then pull up the right leg so that just the left leg's out. So you do one at a time. I am one of those people where it doesn't feel great on my lower back. I like to do one at a time. If the leg outwardly rotates, so be it. Hi, Zeus. I feel like sometimes letting the leg outwardly rotate actually gives you a little bit more stretch through the psoas. Oh, honey. Gross. Let's take a few more breaths here. Dude, can you not breathe on my face? Doggy breath. And if your legs are still extended, one at a time, bring them back so that the feet are flat, knees pointing upward. Gently press through the feet, lift the hips up off the block, gently remove the props from underneath you, and slowly, slowly, slowly lower the hips down. And just stay in this neutral position for a few breaths. And when you feel ready, go ahead and extend the legs long underneath the Shavasana. And take rest. gradually start to deepen your breath. Find energy in the fingers, toes, wrists, ankles, hands, and feet. Let the arms extend up above for a nice long stretch through the body. And hug the knees in towards your chest. And give a little rock from side to side. From here, rolling on to your right side, resting in fetal position for a few breaths. And gently press yourself up to a seated position, eyes closed. Hands either pressed together at your heart center or one on your heart and one on your belly. And so as we sit here and breathe, at the end of every class, I always say, give a few moments for gratitude, something you're thankful for. And I was enlightened by my friend, or reminded by my Instagram friend, whom I'll put in the description and I'll tag her as well, that sometimes just making a list of what you're grateful for doesn't actually make us feel grateful. Now, these are my words, not hers. Because you could be thankful for your family, for the food that you eat, for the wealth and the abundance that you have, and these are all wonderful things to be grateful for. But can you go a little bit deeper into the emotion of why? Why are you grateful for these things? Take a few moments and just think about the why. And if it invokes a little emotion, and that's where the gratitude comes from, that's where the love comes from, that's where you actually feel it. So with that, my friends, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, Namaste. So this was an interesting practice, a little bit different than my norm. The Psoas, man, they support us, they move us forward, and when we're unwilling to move forward, they start to clench up and you can get pains. And as I'm rediscovering, digestive issues can come up. I even learned that it could go all the way up to your jaw and your cranium, right? Because everything is connected. So take care of the mind, take care of your heart. They are intrinsically connected to your body. Yes? All right, my friends. Have a beautiful weekend. Thank you so much for joining me, and Zeus, and Loki, and Socks. We have one more wake and stretch for this month, which is on Monday, and I think I will be doing a full moon practice on Monday because the following day is the actual full moon, but I'm not going to be doing a wake and stretch on that day. So enjoy your weekend. Have a fabulous Saturday and Sunday, and I'll see you next time. Bye.